Mullet Orcs.
Healthier and cheaper. What were their early videos, and are there any title items?
There we go. So, I'm going to be making a mullet-themed Orc Warband inspired by 70s and 80s glam rock metal fashion. What do I need a warband for? Well, Adepticon is right around the corner, which is terrifying because I don't know how I'm going to afford it, which is evident by the fact that I'm cutting my own hair, but also there's a lot of things I have to make if I want to play games. So I'm going to make my very first warband, and I want them to look like a war band. I'm not going to literally give them instruments, but I want each member of the band to be inspired by a certain type of musician. I have a lot of bits to work with, so let's dive in. So, how am I going to make these orcs look like a rock band without giving them instruments? The key will be the poses. There are a few key rock poses that will make their weapons read as instruments. Looking through my bits box, one of the first things I noticed was this 40k flamethrower orc. His pose is giving low-hanging strap, dirty metal bass player vibes. All I had to do was cut away the 40k bits and turn his flamethrower into a rifle so that he fits within the realms of Mordheim. But he's made of metal. This was a terrible place to start. It took me hours to scrape away all these unwanted parts. This being my first video in the new year, I thought I'd take it easy on myself and do a quick and easy kit bashing project. Though in hindsight, I don't know why I thought this would be easy. I was obviously going to sculpt on all of these guys, and sculpting 9 different models is not easy. As I was looking through my bits for good rocker poses, I was also looking for a wide variety of shapes, sizes, and poses for my guys. One of the things I don't like about 40k orcs is that they all look like clones of each other. I much prefer the Lord of the Rings style orc, where they're wildly different sizes and they all look like orcs, but wildly different. To achieve this, I used some Age of Sigmar models, some old 40k models, some 90s metal models, and I sculpted a lot. But where did I get all these bits to kitbash with? Well, when I started Goblins, I intended to make an Orcs and Goblins army, but instead that turned into a Troll Horde army, so I have a bunch of leftover Orcs and Goblins bits. When I started the project, I bought a big lot off Facebook Marketplace, and my friend Angus gave me his old collection. I bought a couple models here and there, and then the rest of my bits came from Trent. If you're taking on a project like this, it's helpful to tell people what you're making, and they might gift you things. As I started kit bashing these models, I realized how hard kit bashing actually is. Putting these models together took me a very long time. I find it really hard to make decisions when I'm kit bashing, and it just makes me appreciate all the really great kit bashers out there. Kit bashing is its own medium and requires a very specific set of skills that I don't really have. I don't think I would call what I do kit bashing though. I think I kit bash as a means to sculpt. It's more like sculpt bashing. As I was working on this project, I was wondering, why aren't there more minis inspired by rock music? Of course, fantasy and metal have always gone hand in hand, from the album artwork to the fashion. Some bands literally wear armor, and others borrow from the occult. Some bands play with character and narrative and fantasy like David Bowie, while others literally write songs about Lord of the Rings like Led Zeppelin. As a kid, I really loved rock music, and I was really drawn to these over-the-top theatrical rock groups. In the realm of rock and roll, which is considered to be so masculine, there were these iconic figures that were challenging the ideas of masculinity. They had long over-the-top hair, they were wearing makeup and heels and tight clothes and bright colors. They became these powerful masculine sex symbols while presenting kind of androgynously. In the world of wargaming, which is a very male-dominated hobby, things are still pretty macho and grimdark and gun. I think it's important to show different ways that the hobby can be. I want my warband to be funny and fabulous and literally fight against those ideas and aesthetics. What a cool thing to be able to do. Also, I just like it. I think it's funny, and if I'm going to bring something to Adepticon, I want it to represent me. I am so unbelievably stoked for Adepticon this year. I have friends coming from all over the world who I haven't met in person yet. Last year, I decided to go to Adepticon super last minute, so I only had 5 days to prepare, which meant I didn't have time to make anything. Of course, people are willing to lend you their armies so that you can play games, but there's something uniquely special about putting your art against your friend's art and fighting. It's something I still haven't done. I'm relatively new to the hobby, so I haven't had a chance to actually battle with my own army. One of the benefits of making a warband is that I can play all different kinds of games, and I have a lot of friends that I want to play games with. Adepticon last year kind of changed my life. I didn't realize it at the time, but it inspired me to start taking YouTube seriously. I got to meet a bunch of my hobby heroes and a bunch of new friends that were making it work in this space, and I realized I can do that too. It kind of turned the wisp of a goal into a full-blown dream, which is what I'm working towards now. I knew I had to go again, but I knew it was going to be harder. Earlier this year, I had a commission fall through that was going to pay for my trip, and that sucked. If you want to help me get there, the best way to do so is to join my Patreon. Even if you just join for a month, it would be a huge help to me. I made my first Mullet Orc at Adepticon last year, and it will be just a nice full circle moment to be able to bring my Mullet Orc Warband this year. Adepticon inspired my Goblin series and really all the videos I made last year. I'm so grateful I got to meet all these people and be a part of this community, and I'm really excited to go again. Another way I can make these orcs look like rockers is through iconic rock faces. There's of course the lead singer scream, there's the shredding face, and there's bass face where it smells like something stinky in the air because it's so good. Yeah, bass face. Some of the minis I found have pretty rockin' faces like this Orc with a perfect bass face, but the rest I'm gonna have to sculpt myself. But it's pretty boring to watch someone sculpt hair over and over again, so I'm just going to show you the final result. Also, I'm really bad at naming things, so I'd like your help naming the members of my band. Let me introduce you. We've got this short king with an eye patch, Gene Simmons hair. He was kind of perfect on his own. All I did was give him some high heels and the long hair underneath his top knot ponytail. We've got this fabulous orc boss with an axe and a sword. He's got a denim vest on and no pants. That's metal, baby. This guy came from Trent's Chaos Orcs. I gave him a rockabilly pompadour mullet, a vest with a patch on the back, and he's of course rocking the devil horns. This orc head was inspired by the old Lord of the Rings animated movie. I gave him assless chaps, and he is my archer. This bass face Uruk, I gave him beautiful hair. I imagine he is the sensitive bass player, kind of a Pete Wentz type. This Shredder, this Axeman, the body was from an old Magic the Gathering board game. The face I sculpted to look like that guitar shredding face, and of course, he's got that two-handed axe. The first guy I made, my gunner, this is the kind of bass player that your friends date and he ruins their life. That orc posture is perfect for a drummer, dual-wielding a club and a dagger with that curly, twisted sister mullet. And finally, my shaman, inspired by Steven Tyler's mouth. I sculpted this almost entirely from scratch, but I felt like my shaman should really have that glam rock look to him. So that's my warband. I still have to paint these guys. I've got a giant robot to make for Mech 28 and a bunch of stuff I want to make to give away at the con. So I'll be seeing you real soon. Bye.